no one is teaching you how to use this in school. If you want the basic hacks of how to use this actually really awesome calculator, this video is for you. I'm going to be going over 10 basic hacks that teaches you how to better use your calculator so you can master either the ACT, the SAT, or even just your Algebra 2 course. Okay. So this is going to be pretty much the basic 101 of this calculator. Some of this you might already know, but I'd rather just touch on these like 10 must-know things. I have included a printable within this module that you're welcome to print out and follow along, but I just want to show you so we're all on the same playing field. And if you have the TI-84 regular, I believe these are mostly in the same location. But feel free to double check that. So first one, and you might know that, is just math frac, where you can put a decimal and turn it into a fraction. I'm going to give you an example real quick. So if I go 0.333333, enter, and then I go math, and then 1 for frac, well, that one did not work because that is incorrect. So let's go ahead and do the other way. So if I go, let's try one that will actually work. If we go 0.25, we should know that goes to 1/4, and then we go math frac, that's going to be 1/4. So the next one is just knowing where to like enter graphs and stuff like that. So you might already know this, but let's just make sure you know. So graphs would be entered into y equals. I'm going to show you a basic. So if you get like x plus 2, and you can even put a second one. So we go, what, 2x plus 9. And then if you go to graph, that actually graphs it, but I don't find that part to be the most helpful. The more helpful part is actually going to be second table. And this is where you can actually find like a little bit better details of like intersections and just different trends that are going on. I use the second table all the time. Which brings us into number 3 is going to be the calc. It's second and then calc. And so what we do is we go second calc, and then we can find different things in our graph. So if we go to 5, intersection, and this is where it gets a little bit picky. So it wants us to confirm that this is the first curve. I'm going to get it a little closer. And then enter. And then they want to confirm that's the second curve. And I'm like, yes. And then enter. And then I have my intersection here, -7 and -5. You just have to make sure you get on the line. You don't have to stress too much. Okay, so for number 4, it's going to be log bases, and a lot of students struggle to like change the base. And if you just do like that, that's log base 10. And a lot of times in the ACT, they don't have a log base 10. So if you see it come up, you just need to go math, and then you scroll down, and then it's going to be A, which is log base, and then you can go ahead and change it to whatever you need. Number 5 is something I've had to teach time and time again, and never thought I would have to. But when you divide fractions, hands down, you really have to be thinking about using parentheses. So for example, if you just go like 8 plus 9 divided by 9, then you get 9. That is a problem there. But if you go parenthesis 8 plus 9 divided by 9, you get a completely different answer. So what is the takeaway on this? Is if you are dividing fractions, and a lot of times like you can combine stuff like that, that's fine, is you have to put those parentheses in place. And a lot of students will waste a bunch of time making sure they either go to the math or go like second that, alpha, and then they do all the fraction stuff. But I have found students be so slow with this. So if you can just do the parentheses, great, do that and move on. My next one is kind of convenient. I've taught actually, I think it was a month or 2 ago, a kid who was like in calculus. This one is this right here, this minus sign and the subtraction are very different in your calculator's eyes. And I know that sounds silly, but here is the problem. So if I go, and I'm going to show you how different it can impact things, is if you go like -3x or like the plus 6, now I'm saying it wrong, and then you go graph, it's going to yell at you. And then I'll have students just panic. They're like, it doesn't work. I'm like, no, that's incorrect. So what you need to do is if you go this button, 3x plus 6, graph, then that's actually going to work. So ME's, make sure you know the difference between those two. I know technically we use it more interchangeably in math, but your calculator does not see it as interchangeable, so just be cautious with that. And then number 7 is a very, very simple hack, and I'm going to kind of stack it with 2 of them, is to make sure that you know that this button right here, this little caret button, is to the power of, because what wastes a lot of time is if you go like the slow way, is you can technically move around the power stuff with using the stuff in here, but the best way to go is like 9 to the power of 3, boom, 8 to the power of 3, and it's just a lot faster. I found it way, way easier, so just make sure that you do that, and if you start practicing now in math class, it really helps with your muscle memory. And then number 8 is going to be the difference between apps versus programs. So programs we're going to get into later, but APPS or apps is going to be those pre-downloaded ones that come with your calculator. This is exactly how I got this calculator at Target. You will see a black one later that I have significantly modified. That's very different, but this is like your standard, like how it comes. So the way it should come is if you click on program, that's where our downloaded programs are going to be. If you download them, and I have them on my black calculator, I try to keep them actually separate strategically because of like testing and coding. But what is really helpful is these apps. And so if you ever hear me talk about apps, this is all your pre-downloaded ones. A lot of these are honestly like not helpful at all. Sometimes side tools can, but a lot of these you just really don't need. Mine is about 2 to 3 of them, and we'll go into that later. And then number 9 is to know how to change square roots. People do not know this all the time. And so I want to make sure that you are not falling in that category. So the way that you change the square roots is you just go to math, and then you can click this 5, and then you can put it as any like square root base that you need. So make sure you know that one. And the last really simple one is second I is your imaginary numbers. They love these on the ACT. They're actually really easy, but I've had kids not find it. And the problem is if you're like looking for this on test day, you're going to run out of time. So I'd rather you practice this now. So make sure if you are struggling with these or you need the printable, go ahead and print off that Basics 101 PDF. It's like a 1-pager. And then make sure that you really hone in and get ready for the next video. That's where we're going to get like hardcore into using this on the ACT with built-in programs. So if you're taking your ACT soon and wanna get some points on your math test, go ahead and check out the course that is dedicated to this calculator and all the hacks. We're gonna go ahead and link it in the description below. But regardless, I hope you do well in your test. Go ahead and don't forget to hit subscribe.